Captain Jamin Kim sat in his command chair aboard the Persistence, watching the Galactic Council meeting through the main view screen. His ship floated silently in orbit around the Council's massive space station, waiting like it always did, waiting for decisions that never came, waiting for justice that never arrived. On the screen, Ambassador Dion Park stood at the human podium. She looked tired. She always looked tired these days. For 5 years she had served as Earth's voice in this chamber, and for 5 years she had been ignored. "Honorable members of the Council," Daun said, her voice steady despite everything. 3 weeks ago, the Drathan Confederacy attacked our colony on New Jeju. 40,000 humans are dead. 15,000 more have been taken as slaves. We have provided evidence. We have shown you the recordings. We ask again for Council intervention. Jamin clenched his fists. New Jeju. His sister had lived there. Past tense. Had lived. The Drathan representative rose from his seat. He was massive, covered in thick scales with forearms and eyes that glowed red. When he spoke, his translator made his voice sound like grinding metal. "The humans lie," the Drathan said. "New Jeju was in disputed territory. They built their colony in our space. We simply reclaimed what was ours." "That's not true," Daun replied calmly. "New Jeju was established in 2531, 16 years ago. The territory was legally purchased from the Seln Assembly. We have the contracts." "Contracts mean nothing," a voice called out. It came from the Veltari section. The Veltari were tall, elegant beings who controlled the largest empire in the galaxy. They thought they were better than everyone else, and the Council usually agreed with them. "The humans always complain, always crying about something." Laughter filled the chamber, not just from the Veltari, but from dozens of species. The insectoid cricks clicked their mandibles in amusement. Even some of the smaller species joined in. Jamin felt his jaw tighten. He had been a captain for 12 years. He had served humanity with pride. But in all that time, he had watched his people suffer, trade routes blocked, patents stolen, colonies raided, and every single time the Council did nothing. "I call for a vote," Daun said, raising her voice above the laughter. "I call for immediate sanctions against the Drathan Confederacy for their unprovoked attack on a human colony." The vote was quick. Out of 247 Council members, only 8 voted in favor of sanctions. The humans, of course, and 7 smaller species who knew what it felt like to be bullied. Everyone else either voted no or abstained. The Drathan representative actually laughed. Not through his translator, but a real, booming laugh that echoed through the chamber. "Perhaps," he said, still laughing, "the humans should learn to fight back instead of running to the Council like frightened children. Or maybe they should just accept that they are weak. The galaxy has no place for the weak." Daun stood perfectly still. Jamin knew that look. She was furious, but she wouldn't show it. That was the human way. Stay calm, stay diplomatic. Keep trying to make peace. "This Council is dismissed," the chairman announced. "Next session will be in 2 weeks. The view screen went dark. Jamin sat in silence for a long moment. Around him, his bridge crew worked quietly. They had all watched the same thing. They all knew how it would end. "Captain," his communication officer said softly, "Ambassador Park is requesting to speak with you." "Private channel." "Put her through," Jamin said. Dawn's face appeared on his screen. She looked even more tired up close. There were dark circles under her eyes. "Jamin," she said. They had known each other for years, long before he became a captain and she became an ambassador. "I'm sorry about your sister. I tried. I know you did," he replied. "You always try." "I'm sending a message to Earth tonight," Daun said quietly. "I'm going to recommend that we reconsider our diplomatic strategy. This isn't working. It's never worked. They see our patience as weakness, Welly. What do you think will happen?" "I don't know. But something has to change. We can't keep doing this. We can't keep losing people while the Council laughs at us." Jamin nodded slowly. "How long have we been part of the Council?" 127 years. Since first contact. 127 years of this," Jamin said. "Maybe you're right. Maybe it's time for something different." After Daun disconnected, Jamin stood and walked to the viewport. From here he could see the Council station, a massive structure built by dozens of species over thousands of years. It was supposed to represent unity, peace, cooperation. Instead, it was just a place where the strong bullied the weak. His first officer, Commander Sujin Kwan, approached quietly. She had lost friends on New Jeju too. "Captain," she said, "the crew is asking questions. They want to know what we're going to do." "We follow orders," Jamin said. "We're a diplomatic vessel. We stay here and support the ambassador. And if the orders change, Jamin looked at her. Su Jin had been with him for 8 years. She was smart, loyal, and tough. She was also tired of watching humanity suffer. If the orders change, he said carefully, then we'll follow the new orders, whatever they are. Su Jin nodded and returned to her station. That night, Jamin couldn't sleep. He kept thinking about his sister. Her name had been Hana. She had been a teacher on New Jeju working with children. She had believed in the colony, believed they could build something good there. She had been wrong. The Dratham didn't care about human dreams. They only cared about power. Jamin pulled up the news feeds from New Jeju. The images were horrible. Burned buildings, bodies in the streets. The Drathan had been brutal, killing anyone who resisted and taking the rest as slaves. And the council had done nothing. Worse than nothing. They had laughed. His communication panel beeped. A message from Earth, marked urgent and encrypted. Jamin opened it. It was from Admiral Tae-Yang Choi, the head of the United Earth Defense Fleet. The message was short. Stand by for new orders. Everything is about to change. Jamin read the message 3 times. Then he forwarded it to his senior officers with instructions to prepare the ship for possible reassignment. He didn't know what was coming, but something in Admiral Tae-Yang's words made his heart beat faster. Stand by for new orders. Everything is about to change, maybe. Jamin thought. Humanity was finally done being patient. Maybe the galaxy was about to learn that patience wasn't the same thing as weakness. Maybe they were about to find out what happened when you pushed humans too far. Outside his window, the stars looked the same as they always did. Cold, distant, uncaring. But somewhere in that darkness, things were shifting. Decisions were being made. The future was coming, whether the galaxy was ready or not. Captain Jamin Kim returned to his chair and waited. Soon he knew the waiting would be over. One way or another, humanity's long patience was coming to an end. And when it did, the galaxy would never be the same. President Sang Woo-yoon stared at the holographic display floating above his desk. Red markers covered the map of human space. Each one represented an attack. Each one represented lives lost. The latest marker had appeared 3 hours ago. The medical station orbiting Titan, 2,000 people, doctors, nurses, patients, all dead. The Drathan again? He asked. General Bo-Ra Han stood at attention nearby. She was the head of Earth's Special Operations Command, a woman who had spent 30 years protecting humanity from threats both foreign and domestic. Yes, sir, Bo-Ra said. They hit the station with missiles. It was clearly marked as a medical facility. They knew exactly what they were targeting. Sang-woo closed his eyes. 2,000 more. Added to the 40,000 from New Jeju. Added to the hundreds of thousands who had died over the past century from various attacks. Accidents that weren't accidents and quiet murders that the council ignored. How many more? He asked quietly. How many more of our people have to die before we do something? That's why I'm here, sir, Bo-Ra said. The Joint Chiefs are unanimous. We need to act. A knock on the door interrupted them. Sang-woo's assistant entered with 3 more people. Counselor Ji-won Song, who led the peaceful faction in Earth's government. Engineer Hyun-woo Nam, the head of Earth's weapons development program. And Dr. Hai-Jin Lee, their best expert on alien cultures. Thank you for coming, Sang-woo said. Please sit. We have decisions to make. Ji-won spoke first. She was in her 60s with silver hair and a gentle voice. She had always advocated for peace. Mr. President, I understand the anger. I feel it too. But we cannot abandon our principles. We are better than this. We should try economic sanctions first, cut off trade with the Drathan, make them feel the consequences without violence. We've tried sanctions, Bo-Ra said flatly, 17 times over the past 50 years against various species. They don't work. The Council just helps them bypass our restrictions. Then we try diplomatic pressure. We make alliances with other species who... Who? Bo-Ra interrupted. Which species will stand with us? We've been begging for allies for over a century. No one helps us because everyone knows the Council will protect the strong and abandon the weak. Hyun-woo cleared his throat. He was younger than the others, barely 40, but brilliant. He had designed most of Earth's defensive systems, if I may, he said. I've brought something that might change this conversation. He activated his own holographic display. Technical specifications filled the air. Ship designs, weapon systems, defense grids. What am I looking at? Sang-woo asked. The truth, Hyun-woo said. For 127 years, we've been playing defense. Building shields, creating barriers, developing technology to protect ourselves, but we never showed the galaxy what we were building. We never wanted to seem threatening. He changed the display. Now it showed comparison charts between human technology and council technology. Our railguns can fire projectiles at 5% of light speed. The best council weapons achieve 1%. Our power generation is 40 years ahead of theirs. Our computing systems are 60 years ahead. Our ship engines, our sensors, our materials science, we're better at almost everything. How is that possible? Ji-won asked, shocked. Because we had to be, Hyun-woo said simply. We couldn't match them in numbers. We couldn't match them in territory. So we focused on innovation, on being smarter, on being better prepared, and we kept it all secret because we thought that's what peaceful species did. Dr. Hyejin spoke up. She had been listening quietly, her face troubled. I decrypted some Drathan communications yesterday, she said. I need to show you what I found. She played an audio file. The translation was rough, but the meaning was clear. Drathan military officers talking about the attack on New Jeju, laughing about how easy it was, discussing how the council had actually encouraged them to test humanity. Test us, Sang-woo said, his voice dangerous. The council thinks we're cowards, Heejin said. They've been running an experiment for decades. How much can humans take before we fight back? The Veltari actually have bets running on how many colonies can be destroyed before we respond militarily. Silence filled the room. Even Ji-won looked shaken. They're treating this like a game, Bora said. Our deaths are entertainment to them. Sang-woo stood and walked to the window. Outside he could see Earth below, blue and beautiful. Home to 20 billion humans. A planet that had survived wars, disasters, and first contact with aliens who saw them as inferior. Counselor Song, he said, not turning around. You've always been the voice of peace in my administration. I respect that. So I need to know, what would you do? Ji-won was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was sad. I would try one more time to negotiate, but if I'm honest with myself, I know it won't work. They've shown us who they are. They've shown us that they'll never respect us unless we force them to. So you're saying we should fight. I'm saying... Ji-won paused, choosing her words carefully. I'm saying that sometimes refusing to fight doesn't preserve peace. Sometimes it just encourages more violence. And I'm saying that I'm tired of watching our people die while we do nothing. Sang-woo turned back to face them. He looked at each person in turn. Bora ready for action. Hyun-woo confident in his technology. Hyejin angry at the betrayal. And Ji-won finally accepting that peace required strength. General Han, he said, if we go to war, can we win? Yes, sir, Bora said immediately. We can't hold territory like they can. We don't have enough ships or soldiers, but we can hurt them. We can hurt them badly enough that they'll regret ever testing us. Engineer Nam, are your systems ready? They've been ready for years, sir, Hyun-woo said. Just waiting for authorization to deploy them. Sang-woo walked back to his desk. He pulled up a document that had been prepared months ago, sitting in a secure file waiting for this moment. This is Declaration 7, he said. It authorizes the full deployment of Earth's military forces in defense of human lives and territory. It recalls all our ambassadors. It ends our participation in the Council. And it gives our military command full authority to respond to any attack with appropriate force. He looked at them again. If I sign this, everything changes. We stop being the galaxy's victim. We stop begging for help. We start protecting ourselves. But we do it our way. We don't become monsters. We don't commit genocide. We don't enslave. We fight with honor even if our enemies don't. Agreed? Everyone nodded. Dr. Lee, prepare messages for all human citizens in Council space. I want them evacuated within 48 hours. Yes, sir. Engineer Nam, authorize the deployment of all military technology. Everything we've been holding back. It's time the galaxy saw what we can really do. Understood, sir. General Han, take command of military operations. Your first priority is the safe return of our people enslaved by the Drathan. Your second priority is making sure they never attack us again. It will be my honor, sir, Bora said. And she actually smiled. Counselor Song, I need you to prepare a statement for the Earth public. They need to understand why we're doing this. They need to know that we tried everything else first. I'll have it ready within the hour, Ji-won said. Sang-woo picked up a stylus. His hand shook slightly as he held it over the document. 127 years of patience. 127 years of trying to be better. 127 years of hoping that the galaxy would accept them. All of it ending with one signature. He signed. Transmit this to all Earth military forces, he said. and prepare a message for the Galactic Council. I want them to know exactly why this is happening." Bora took the signed document and left immediately. Hyunwoo and Heejin followed. Only Ji-won remained. "You made the right choice," she said quietly. "I wish it had been different." "But you made the right choice, did I?" Sang-woo asked. "Or did I just start a war that will kill millions?" "No," Ji-won said firmly. "They started this war 127 years ago when they decided we were weak. You're just finishing it." After she left, Sang-woo recorded his message to the council. It was short. "For 127 years, humanity has shown you our best nature. We have been patient. We have been forgiving. We have been merciful. We have been all these things not because we are weak, but because we believed in a better way. We believed that the galaxy could be a place where disputes were solved with words, not weapons, where justice was given freely, not taken by force. We were wrong. Today that chapter ends. Today, humanity will defend itself. Not with apologies, not with requests, but with action. We gave you peace. You chose war. Now you'll learn the difference." He sent it, and across human space, warships that had been waiting for this moment began to move. The Retribution dropped out of slipspace at the edge of the Drathan home system. Captain Jamin Kim had renamed his ship himself. No longer the Persistence. That name belonged to the old humanity, the one that waited and hoped. "This was a new era. Status report," he said calmly. Commander Soo-jin checked her displays. 12 ships in formation with us. All systems operational. The Drathan defense fleet is moving to intercept. I count 300 ships. 300 against 13. The old humanity would have retreated. The new humanity had different plans. "Lieutenant Young-ho," Jamin said to his fighter wing commander, "launch all fighters." "Pattern Delta." "Yes, sir." Young-ho's enthusiasm was clear even over the comm. He had been waiting for this moment. General Bora stood on the bridge, watching everything. She had chosen to ride with the Retribution personally. This was too important to command from a distance. "Captain Kim," she said, "the Drathan are hailing us. War Master Drathkar himself. Put him on screen." The view screen lit up with the image of the Drathan commander. He was even bigger than most of his species, covered in battle scars. His forearms gestured dismissively. "Humans," he growled through his translator. "You come here with 13 ships? This is your mighty response? We will crush you, and then we will finish what we started on New Jeju. Your entire species will be slaves or corpses." Jamin stood slowly. He thought about his sister, about her students, about the 40,000 dead. "War Master Drathkar," he said calmly, "I am Captain Jamin Kim. My sister died on New Jeju. You killed her. You laughed about it. So let me be very clear. Today is the day you learn that humanity's patience was never weakness. It was mercy. And you no longer deserve our mercy." "Mercy?" Drathkar laughed. "You have no power to grant mercy or—" Jamin cut the transmission. "All ships. Fire at will." The battle began. Human railguns spoke first. Each ship carried weapons that could accelerate tungsten rounds to 5% of light speed. At that velocity, shields meant nothing. Armor meant nothing. The laws of physics became weapons. The first salvo hit the Drathan fleet like the hand of an angry god. 20 ships simply disintegrated. 20 more suffered critical damage. The Drathan hadn't even raised their shields yet because they didn't think they needed to. "They're scattering," Soo-jin reported. "No, wait. They're reforming. Attempting to surround us. Let them try," General Bora said. "Show them the fighters." Lieutenant Young-ho's squadrons were already moving. Human fighters were small, fast, and carried G-force compensation technology that would kill any other species pilots. Young-ho could pull maneuvers that looked impossible, because to anyone else they were impossible. His fighters hit the Drathan formation like a swarm of angry hornets. They were too fast to track, too maneuverable to hit, and their weapons, though smaller than ship-mounted guns, were still devastatingly effective. "Enemy missiles incoming," Soo-jin called out. "Point defense systems active," Jamin said calmly. The Drathan had launched thousands of missiles. They looked overwhelming, but human point defense lasers, originally designed for mining operations, could track and destroy incoming projectiles with perfect accuracy. The missiles died in beautiful, deadly fireworks that never touched their targets. "They're trying to jam our communications," the comm officer reported. "They can't," Bora said. "Our communications are quantum encrypted. They might as well try to jam gravity." The battle continued. The Drathan fought hard, but they were fighting technology they couldn't understand and tactics they had never encountered. Human ships moved in perfect coordination, each one acting as part of a larger whole. When the Drathan tried to focus fire on one ship, The others would shift positions and strike from new angles. We've destroyed 150 enemy vessels, Sujin reported. Another 100 are damaged. They're starting to retreat. Don't let them, Jamin said. Any ship that retreats might regroup and attack human colonies later. We end this here. Today. It was brutal. It was necessary. And it was over in 17 minutes. When the shooting stopped, the Drathan fleet was gone. Only one ship remained, fleeing toward the inner system. Jamin let it go. Someone needed to carry word of what happened here. Hail all Drathan frequencies, he ordered. When the channel opened, Jamin spoke clearly. This is Captain Jamin Kim of Earth. You attacked New Jeju. You killed 40,000 of my people. You enslaved 15,000 more. You laughed when we asked for justice. This is what happens when humanity stops laughing with you. You have 48 hours to return every human slave. If you refuse, or if you harm even one of them, I will come to your homeworld, and I will show you what real war looks like. This is your only warning. He closed the channel and turned to Bora. General, prepare the orbital platforms. If they refuse, we'll need them ready to deploy. Bora nodded. They'll refuse. Drathkar is too proud. She was right. 24 hours later, the Drathan response came. They executed 1,000 human slaves on live broadcast to show they didn't negotiate with terrorists. Jamin watched the broadcast. Each death, each face. He memorized them all. These deaths would be the last deaths the Drathan caused. He would make sure of it, General, he said quietly. Deploy the platforms. The orbital platforms were Engineer Hyunwoo's masterwork. Not nuclear weapons, not biological weapons, just pure mathematics and physics made terrible. Tungsten rods, each one 20 feet long and 2 feet wide, carried into high orbit above the Drathan homeworld. When released, they would simply fall. Gravity would accelerate them. The atmosphere would heat them. And when they hit the ground, the kinetic energy would be equivalent to a nuclear weapon. But unlike nuclear weapons, they created no radiation, no fallout, no lingering poison, just instant terrible destruction targeted with perfect precision. Targets locked, Sujin reported. 6 Drathan military installations. No civilian populations within the blast zones. Fire, Jamin said. The rods fell. From orbit, they looked like shooting stars. Beautiful. Peaceful. But when they struck the Drathan homeworld, each impact created a crater half a mile wide. 6 military bases, including the central command where War Master Drathkar coordinated his forces, simply ceased to exist. 2 million Drathan military personnel died in seconds. 0 civilians. The precision was perfect, and that precision was more terrifying to the galaxy than the destruction itself. Across the galaxy, every species watched. This wasn't the humanity they knew. This wasn't the species that begged and pleaded. This was something else. Something that had always been there, hidden beneath the surface. War Master Drathkar survived, though his command center was destroyed. He appeared on all frequencies 2 hours later. The proud warrior looked broken. We surrender, he said simply. We will return all human prisoners. We will pay reparations. We will accept any terms. Not good enough, General Bora responded. Here are our terms. You will return every human slave immediately. You will pay reparations for the next 200 years. You will cede the 3 border systems closest to human space. You will dismantle 50% of your military, and you will submit to war crimes tribunals for every officer involved in attacks on human civilians. These terms are not negotiable. We accept, Drathkar said. He looked at the camera with what might have been respect or might have been fear. Tell your Captain Kim that the Drathan people will never forget this day. We thought you were weak. We were fools. The transmission ended. On the Retribution's bridge, the crew was silent. They had won, decisively, completely, but nobody celebrated. This wasn't something to celebrate. It was just something that had needed to be done. Captain, Sujin said quietly, we're receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council. They want to speak with Earth's government immediately. I bet they do, Jamin said. Forward it to President Yoon. This is above my authority now. General Bora smiled grimly. They're scared. They should be. We just showed them that everything they thought they knew about humanity was wrong. Across the galaxy, in his palace on the Veltari homeworld, Chairman Velmon watched recordings of the battle. He watched them again and again, studying every moment. The humans had been hiding their strength. For over a century, they had been capable of this and chose not to use it. That was perhaps the most disturbing part. They had the power to fight back all along. They had simply chosen mercy instead. Velmon opened a secure channel to the other major species leaders. His message was simple. We need to discuss the human problem before it's too late. They've stopped asking for permission. They've stopped asking for justice. They've stopped asking for anything. And that makes them more dangerous than anything we've faced before. The responses came quickly. Everyone agreed. Something had to be done about humanity. But they were already too late. The galaxy had pushed humanity past the breaking point, and now humanity was pushing back. Fleet Admiral Minseo Yang studied the holographic display in the command center on Luna. 7 species had formed what they called the Grand Coalition for Galactic Order. Their combined fleet numbered 4,000 warships, now gathering at the edge of Council space. 4,000 ships to deal with humanity's 600. On paper, it looked like humanity was doomed. Minseo smiled. Numbers had never told the whole story. Intelligence Director Bei, she said, "Show me what you've intercepted." Donghyun Bei pulled up the decoded transmissions. He was a quiet man who had spent 20 years in Earth's intelligence services. He knew more about the galaxy's secrets than most council members. "They're terrified," he said simply. "The public statements talk about containing humanity, about protecting galactic stability, but the private communications tell a different story. They're afraid we'll demand restitution for 127 years of abuse. They're afraid we'll topple their power structure." "Good," Minseo said. "They should be afraid." Ambassador Yoonji-ro entered the room. She had been recalled from the Crick swarms and now served as the military's liaison to what remained of Earth's diplomatic corps. "Admiral," she said, "the Coalition has sent an ultimatum. They want us to surrender our fleet, submit to Council authority, and pay reparations to the Drathan for our unprovoked attack. They've given us 24 hours to comply." "Reparations to the Drathan," Minseo repeated slowly. "The species that enslaved our people, that killed 40,000 of us. They want us to pay them." "Yes, ma'am. Send them our response. Tell them that humanity does not surrender. Not to bullies. Not to tyrants. Not to anyone. And tell them that if they want a war, we'll give them one they'll never forget." President Sangwoo's face appeared on the main screen. He was speaking from Earth. "Admiral Yang, you have full authorization to engage the Coalition. But remember our principles. We fight to defend ourselves, not to conquer. We disable when we can. We destroy only when we must, and we never ever target civilians. We're better than they are. Let's prove it." "Understood, Mr. President," Minseo said. "We'll make you proud." Engineer Hyun-woo appeared next to the president's image. He looked excited. "Admiral, I'm uploading the final specifications for the AI coordination system. Each of your ships will be able to fight with the tactical precision of 1,000 strategists working together. The Coalition won't know what hit them." "What about their AI?" Yoonji asked. "They banned strong AI centuries ago," Hyun-woo explained, "after various species had problems with rogue systems. But we perfected human-AI cooperation. Our systems don't replace human judgment. They enhance it. Every captain still makes the final decisions. The AI just helps them make better ones, faster." Minseo nodded. This was humanity's real secret. While other species feared artificial intelligence, humans had learned to work with it, not as masters or servants, but as partners. "What else do we have that they don't?" she asked. "Stealth frigates that are invisible to conventional sensors, self-replicating combat drones that can overwhelm defenses, weapons designed to disable rather than destroy, and psychological warfare tailored to each species' biological weaknesses. We've spent a century studying them. They've spent a century dismissing us. That's about to cost them everything." The Coalition fleet began moving. 4,000 ships, the largest military force in recorded history. They planned to meet the human fleet at the Nexus Expanse, a strategically vital location that controlled access to dozens of trade routes. Minasio gathered her 600 ships and met them there. The battle began at dawn on the 3rd day. The Coalition struck first, launching waves of missiles that darkened space itself. It should have been overwhelming. It should have been the end of humanity's resistance. Instead, human point defense systems carved through the missile storm like it was nothing. While the Coalition wasted ammunition, human ships moved into optimal firing positions. "All ships," Minseo broadcast, "Pattern Omega, show them what precision looks like." The human fleet split into dozens of smaller groups. Each group moved with perfect coordination, attacking from multiple angles simultaneously. The Coalition tried to respond, but their communications were too slow, their coordination too poor. Lieutenant Young-ho's fighter wings executed maneuvers that looked like magic. They appeared behind enemy formations, struck hard and vanished before return fire could touch them. Coalition pilots tried to follow, but their bodies couldn't handle the G-forces that humans shrugged off. Enemy flagship launching a counterattack, reported the tactical officer. Let them, Minseo said calmly. Spring the trap. Stealth frigates that had been waiting, invisible, suddenly appeared inside the coalition formation. The enemy had no idea they were there until weapons fire erupted from what should have been empty space. Chaos spread through the coalition ranks. They're trying to regroup, Dong-hyun reported. But their command structure is breaking down. Too many different species with too many different tactics. They can't coordinate. The battle raged for 3 days. The coalition threw everything they had at the human fleet. They tried overwhelming numbers. They tried coordinated strikes. They tried ramming attacks in desperation. Nothing worked. Human ships danced through space like they were alive. Every movement was perfect. Every shot was calculated. When coalition ships were disabled, humans left them adrift rather than destroying them. Those crews broadcasted their surrender, spreading fear through the coalition ranks. On the morning of the 4th day, High Coordinator Selvek of the Seln Assembly made an announcement. The Seln Assembly withdraws from this coalition. We will not participate in a war we cannot win against a species that shows more mercy than we deserve. The humans have proven themselves. To our shame, we only attack them now because we fear their justice. The crick swarms followed hours later, then the smaller species. The coalition was collapsing. By sunset, the coalition had lost 3,200 ships. Humanity had lost 43. Chairman Velmon watched from his flagship as his dream of crushing humanity died. The Veltari Empire had supplied more ships than anyone else to this coalition. Now those ships were debris or fleeing in disorder. Ambassador Yunji's message reached him on a secure channel. Chairman Velmon, this is Ambassador Yunji Ro of Earth. I am authorized to offer you terms. Surrender now and face justice for your crimes, or continue fighting and face the same fate as the Drathan. Humanity has no interest in genocide. We never did, but we will accept nothing less than justice. You have 1 hour to decide. Velmon looked at his advisors. They all knew the truth. The war was lost. It had been lost from the beginning because they had never understood what they were fighting. But Velmon was proud. The Veltari had ruled the largest empire in the galaxy for 10,000 years. They didn't surrender to species that had barely reached the stars. Prepare the final strike force, he ordered. 200 ships equipped with planet-killer weapons. Target Earth itself. While their fleet is here, we'll destroy their homeworld. Let's see how merciful they feel when their families are dead. His advisors protested, but Velmon silenced them. This was about pride now. About sending a message. If the Veltari fell, they would take humanity with them. The strike force launched in secret, using hidden routes to approach the Sol system. They were the Empire's elite forces, equipped with weapons that could crack planets. Velmon didn't know that Earth had defenses. Defenses built over 127 years. Defenses that no one had ever seen because they had never been needed, until now. Colonel Ji-hoon Moon sat in the command center hidden beneath Luna's surface. His job was planetary defense, a position that had always seemed unnecessary. After all, no one had ever attacked Earth directly. Today that changed. Contact, his sensor officer reported. 200 ships entering the system. Veltari signatures. They're carrying planet killers. Ji-hoon had trained for this moment his entire life. He had hoped it would never come, but he was ready. Activate all defense systems, he ordered calmly. Let's show them why you don't attack Earth. The Veltari strike force never reached Earth. They never even got close. Defense platforms hidden in the asteroid belt opened fire first. Hundreds of them, each one carrying railguns that could hit targets millions of miles away. The Veltari ships died in the outer system, torn apart by weapons they never saw coming. The ones that survived ran into the next layer of defenses. Moon-based mass accelerators, orbital mirror networks that focused solar energy into beams that could melt through any armor. Electromagnetic weapons that used Jupiter's massive magnetic field to create space-time distortions. Dr. Young-mi Shin, who had designed these systems, watched from her station. She had spent decades building Earth's defenses, always hoping they would never be used. They thought we were defenseless, she said quietly. They thought we put all our resources into exploration and diplomacy. They were so wrong. Of the 200 ships that attacked Earth, none survived. The battle was visible from the surface as brief stars flaring in the night sky. But Earth itself remained untouched. When Chairman Velmon learned that his final gambit had failed, that even Earth's defenses were beyond anything the Council had imagined. He finally understood. Admiral Taeyang Choi stood in the Great Hall of what used to be the Galactic Council chambers. The room was different now. The old hierarchy of seats with the powerful species elevated above the weak had been torn down. In its place were simple chairs arranged in a circle. No one higher than anyone else. Before him sat Chairman Velman and dozens of other leaders who had participated in attacks on humanity or encouraged others to do so. Behind Taeyang stood representatives from every species in the galaxy, here to witness justice. Chairman Velman, Taeyang said formally, "You are charged with conspiracy to commit genocide against humanity. You are charged with encouraging attacks on human colonies. You are charged with crimes against sapient beings."
How do you plead?
Velman looked old now. The proud leader who had ruled the largest empire in the galaxy seemed small in his chair. "Guilty," he said quietly. "To all charges." The tribunal lasted 3 weeks. Thousands of officials and military leaders were tried. The evidence was overwhelming. Dr. He-jin had decrypted decades of communications showing the Council's true nature. They hadn't ignored humanity's suffering. They had encouraged it, but humanity's justice was measured. Only those directly responsible for atrocities faced severe punishment. Most received rehabilitation and re-education. The goal wasn't revenge. It was prevention, making sure this could never happen again. President Sang-woo addressed the galaxy on the final day of the tribunals. "We could have been conquerors," he said. "After everything you did to us, we could have burned your worlds. We could have enslaved your people. We could have done to you what you did to us. But we didn't. Do you know why? Because we're better than that. Because we remember what it felt like to be the victims, and we refuse to become the monsters we fought against." In the audience, species who had mocked humanity for over a century listened in silence. Some felt shame. Some felt relief. All of them understood that they had been given a gift they didn't deserve. Mercy. Ambassador Daun returned to the council chambers, but everything was different now. She didn't have to beg for attention. She didn't have to plead for justice. When she spoke, the galaxy listened. "We are establishing a new council," she announced, "one based on principles that should have existed from the beginning. Every species has equal voting rights regardless of military strength or territory. Aggression will be met with collective response from all members. Technology and resources will be shared equitably, and the strong will protect the weak, not exploit them." The proposal passed unanimously. No one dared vote against it. Years passed. The galaxy changed. Engineer Hyun-woo's technologies, once kept secret for defense, were now shared freely. Medical advances that could have saved billions over the past century were finally distributed. Energy systems that could power entire planets without pollution became standard. Food production technology that could end hunger was given to every species. Dr. Hyejin established the Institute for Xenocultural Understanding on Luna. Species that had been enemies for millennia came together to learn about each other, to find common ground, to build something better than the old council had ever been. Captain Jaemin Kim retired. He returned to New Jeju, rebuilt and renamed Remembrance to honor those who had died. He taught at the school his sister had worked at, telling children stories about patience and justice, about knowing when to fight and when to forgive. On the anniversary of the war's end, Fleet Admiral Min Seo gave a lecture at the new Galactic Military Academy on Luna. The room was filled with cadets from dozens of species, all learning together. "They thought our patience was weakness," she said. "They thought our mercy was cowardice. They thought our restraint was inability. They were wrong on every count. Humanity didn't lack the capacity for war. We lacked the desire for it. But when they forced our hand, we showed them why patience is not weakness. It's strategy. It's preparation. It's the choice of the truly powerful to show mercy until mercy becomes complicity." A young Drathan cadet raised his hand. "Admiral, do you think we can ever truly make amends for what our species did?" Min Seo looked at him thoughtfully. "Your people are trying. That's what matters. You didn't commit those crimes. Your leaders did, but you have the chance to build something better, to prove that species can change, to show that the future doesn't have to repeat the past." The cadet nodded, grateful. Across the galaxy, the former aggressor species were changing. The Drathan, once proud warriors who took what they wanted, now worked to repay their debt to humanity. They built schools. They supported colonies. They sent their best engineers to help rebuild what they had destroyed. The Veltari Empire shrank to 1/10 of its former size, as conquered worlds were given independence. Velmon himself served his sentence with quiet dignity, teaching younger Veltari about the dangers of pride and the value of humility. Even the Crick swarms, who had mocked humanity so loudly, became some of humanity's strongest allies. They recognized that humans had shown them mercy when they could have shown vengeance. General Bora became the head of the new Galactic Defense Force, a military organization designed to protect all species equally. Under her leadership, it became the most respected institution in the galaxy. Not because it was powerful, though it was, but because it was just President Sang-woo retired after serving 2 more terms. His final address to Earth became legendary. Let this be known across all stars and to all species that may one day join this assembly. Humanity sought peace. We begged for it. We bled for it. We died for it, and when peace was denied, we took it by force. We did not do this with joy. We did this with sorrow, but we did it with certainty. Never again will humanity allow atrocity to go unanswered. Never again will we mistake patience for powerlessness. And never again will any species forget. When humanity's patience ends, the galaxy changes. Decades later, a human teacher named Jiwoo taught history at a school on New Jeju. Her students came from 20 different species, all learning together. A small Veltari child raised her hand. "Teacher Jiwoo, why is humanity so respected now?" "My grandfather says we used to laugh at humans." Jiwoo smiled sadly. "Because we showed the galaxy that true strength isn't the eagerness to use power. It's the wisdom to know when you must. We were patient for 127 years. Not because we were weak, but because we believed in peace, and when peace failed, we fought. But we fought with honor. We fought with mercy. And we fought knowing that the goal wasn't to win a war. It was to build a better galaxy. Did we succeed?" the child asked. Jiwoo looked around at her classroom. Students from species that had once been enemies, now friends. Learning together. Growing together. Building a future that the old council could never have imagined. "Yes," she said, "we succeeded. But we have to keep succeeding every day. Peace isn't something you win once. It's something you choose again and again, even when it's hard." That night, Jiwoo looked up at the stars from New Jeju. Somewhere up there, human ships patrolled the borders of known space, not as conquerors, not as oppressors, but as protectors, making sure that what happened to humanity would never happen to anyone else. The galaxy had learned its lesson. It had learned that humanity's patience wasn't weakness, that their mercy wasn't cowardice, that their restraint wasn't inability. And every species in the galaxy made sure to teach their children about the day humanity's patience ended, not as a warning of human cruelty, but as a reminder of human justice, as proof that even the kindest species has limits, and that pushing past those limits has consequences. But the story didn't end with war. It ended with peace, real peace, not the false peace of the strong dominating the weak, but genuine peace built on mutual respect and justice. In the Great Council chamber, now arranged with seats in a circle, Ambassador Da-un stood to address the assembly. She was older now, with gray in her hair, but her voice was still strong. "Today marks the 50th anniversary of the new council. 50 years of peace, 50 years of cooperation, 50 years of proving that we can be better than we were. Let us never forget the cost of learning this lesson. Let us never forget those who died so we could stand here today. And let us never, ever forget that peace is a choice we must make together, every single day." The assembly rose in respect, not just for humanity, though humanity had earned that respect, but for the idea that had changed everything, that strength and mercy could exist together, that power and justice were not opposites, that the truly strong could choose peace without fear. The galaxy would never forget the moment humanity's patience ended, but more importantly, they would never forget what humanity chose to do with victory. They could have taken revenge. They could have conquered. They could have made the galaxy pay for 127 years of suffering. Instead, they built something better. They built a galaxy where no species would ever have to endure what humanity endured, where patience was respected, not exploited, where mercy was valued, not mistaken for weakness, and that, more than any military victory, was humanity's greatest triumph. The stars above New Jeju shone bright and clear. And among those stars, millions of beings from hundreds of species lived in peace. Not perfect peace. There were still disputes and disagreements. But they were solved with words and law, not weapons and war.